This is Gary Atensi with CNTV, and today we're in Denver, Colorado. We are in the heart of Cherry Creek. I'm here at Ted's Hair Studio. Since 2013, they have been delivering the hair experience that is second to none by creating styles and services that will complement any client. I'm here with Ted, who is the owner, founder. Thanks for joining us here today. Let's start off a little bit about yourself, Ted. I know growing up for myself, I didn't know what a hair studio was. I'd never heard of a hairstylist. I went down to the local barber, and that's where I got my haircut, basically, and they did me great. You yourself really were introduced to this industry through barbers in the family. Quite honestly, you've learned here locally at the Hair Academy. You've also learned really across the nation. You've worked in Hollywood, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, basically all the way up in New York and down to Miami. Across the world in different countries, you've worked with a lot of great people, not only sharing your trade, but also learning at the same time. Share with me a little bit how it is you got involved in this type of industry.
Well, I'll be honest with you, Gary. The way that I got involved with this industry was through my older cousin. He was the guy that just knew everybody. He had all the friends, and a lot of family were barbers, and he's one of the best barbers I've met even to this day after, traveling all over the nation, the world. You get to learn a whole lot about the field that you work in, but you also get to appreciate some of the people who taught you when you were very, very young and when you were first learning.
I love it. As the name implies, hair studio, obviously we're going to talk about hair. But for yourself, really you believe this is a people business, really an industry where you're able to believe in people, make them smile at the end of the day, and understand that it's an individual that sits in your chair. Why is that so important to you?
Oh man, people are everything to me. One of the things that I firmly believe in is that givers gain. People will make you smile, they'll bring out an emotional kind of response, and it's just like hair does. Hair actually invokes emotion in a lot of women, and that was one of the reasons that I got away from barbering and I really got into the hair industry and the salon atmosphere, because it was such an emotional connection that the women had when you did a good job. It really was a way to please people.
I love that. Not only did your family introduce you to this through barbering, but you also were influenced because of curly hair in the family. It's become one of your specialties. Tell me how that got started for you.
Well, I did a fancy hairdo today because, I was going to be doing this interview with you today, Gary, but I have insanely curly hair. All of my family has curly hair, and it was trial by fire. So when you learn how to cut hair, and when you learn in this industry, it's your mom, it's your sisters, it's in the, in the house kitchen or the basement, or it's a lot of friends and family who really just kind of help you grow and help you learn on their hair. Well, all of mine had curly hair, so it wasn't one of those things where I could give a bad haircut and my little sister just disappears and you never have to see her again. It's like on Thanksgiving, on Christmas, Easter, everything, she's giving me a hard time and busting my chops if I messed her hair up. So I just got really dedicated to literally traveling all over the nation, trying to learn the very best technique from some of the best stylists that specialized in the curly hair. It's something I'm really proud of. It's been an interesting journey, and I'm pretty proud of the results.
You're definitely an expert when it comes to curly hair. For a consumer myself, when I think of curly hair, I just think there's one. You really broke it down into 4 different major types of curly hair. Share with me a little bit about what you're dealing with there.
Well, so curls don't really have any kind of racial bias. And what I've found over the years is that there's really 4 categories to put them in. You have the loose wavy curls, and a lot of people have that. You have something that's a little bit tighter, something that is very dynamic. And a dynamic curl could be in the nape area or down by your neck. It's really tight and curly, and on top it's really loose and straight. That's more of a dynamic curl, okay? And then you have the really kind of the kinky afro type curl that, they all have to be addressed differently. They all kind of have a similar cutting strategy to them, but styling and really assessing them, getting good science involved to moisturize them, really hydrate them, all that stuff matters when it comes to curly hair, and that's why I categorize those in those 4 different areas.
You're talking about curl pattern, defining curl. Like you said, really a 3-dimensional strategy. Tell me about what goes on when you're going through that strategy for clients.
Well, somebody who has been an honor for me to spend time with, his name is Masaki. He's been mentoring me. He comes through Japan, and he's one of the best hair designers I've ever met, and it really kind of invokes a 3-dimensional approach. And what that means is that you go inside and you create internal layering that nobody really sees, and the client gets to experience every day when they style their hair. It makes it just a lot easier for them. Okay, so he's based out of Beverly Hills. He's somebody, like I said, he just means the world to me. He's a fantastic guy, and the skill set that he's really kind of shared with me is something that I took and I adapted to curly hair because his cutting strategies are so far superior. And when you ask about three-dimensional hair cutting, that's what it is. It's really on the inside of the haircut. And what we do is we use short hair to push or to grab the longer hair. So with curly hair, I can go through and I can very strategically pinpoint where I need to remove bulk without creating any undesirable frizz or any kind of weird, undefinable curl or any of that stuff based on this three-dimensional approach that I've learned.
So like you say, basically it's an art, it's a science, it's not something to be taken lightly, and this is something that it's interesting to hear somebody, an expert, speak about it like that. So it's more than just the cut, but we're talking about preparing the hair, hydrating the hair, and then obviously educating the client to make sure they can go home and maintain that, I imagine.
That's imperative. Honestly, Gary, a lot of people with curly hair are so frustrated they don't really know what to do with their hair. So it is an art form. You do need to approach it in a very technically sound way, but you also have to have the wherewithal mentally to understand what's going to happen when you cut a curl with the natural curl pattern to it. You need to enhance those curls by getting good moisture. Especially in Colorado, geez, we're so dehydrated out here. Everybody is. So to really have an opportunity to show them and help them learn while you're creating a look for them at the same time, oh man, it's a blessing that I get to do that.
Kinky hair, dense hair, curly hair, regardless of what type they have, is when it comes to curl, everybody's probably trying to reduce the frizz. Is that something that you're able to educate your client on as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be honest with you. A lot of the trend lately is that people are really embracing that big, crazy kind of, we're calling it natural curl in the industry now, or textured hair. Natural hair, basically, you don't want to put heat, you don't want to put chemicals, you just want it to have its own natural personality. And one of the things that I really enjoy doing is kind of coaching people through how to do that, or if they do want to style it, maybe some natural styling options that don't involve the classic, maybe curling iron, flat iron, but more of like a rope braid or two-strand twist. A cute chignon in the back when you put it in when it's wet and let it dry that way will give you beautiful curls. And these are all natural ways of styling hair that are very, very I don't want to say damage-free, because anytime you play with chemicals or anything, you can damage your hair. But the truth of the matter is, it's such a better alternative to just blow drying it and flat ironing it and doing that to the curls all the time.
Now let's talk a little bit, put the curls aside, let's talk about straight hair, short hair. I see some great designs on your website you guys have done. You were influenced by Japanese culture. Tell me why that is. Is that something, do they do something a little bit different than we do here in the Western world? Well,
this might be a little taboo for me to say, but a Japanese client usually has the thickest, densest hair. And if you go if I go into Mr. Wizard's World really quick, there's 3 genetic makeups. You have Mongoloid, Caucasoid, and Negroid. Mongoloid is the only one really with round hair, so it makes it really thick, and it's very unruly. It kind of does its own thing. So if you're going to texture and kind of soften up hair, make it really look good, the hardest place to do that in the world is Japan. I'm naturally a competitor, so I want to challenge the harder aspects of hair, just like curly. I didn't know curly hair was hard. Just like I didn't know what some of the stuff that my mentor was teaching me, I didn't know how valuable or how difficult it was for him to really learn that stuff. And that's why the Japanese influence is so strong with me, for 2 reasons. One, samurai to me is the strongest culture I've ever experienced. I've actually got to spend time with people firsthand that are kind of still in that culture. And then, the history lessons, just at the Denver Art Museum, they just had the samurai exhibit. I'm fascinated, always have been, since I was a little kid with that. And then to be able to really transition that into something of a culture in the hair world, and the way that the Japanese people really show such attention to detail for the process of creating an end result, it leaves you no opportunity for failure for that end result. It's always going to be spectacular, because every step of the way they show respect and honor to. And that's something I was very attracted to.
Interesting. Like you say, you're still fascinated by the art. You can see that when I speak with you. One of the paid hobbies, as you say, something you still have a great passion for, is that of fashion and editorial work. Tell me, is that something that really kind of keeps you ahead of the curve of what's popular?
Absolutely. I'll be honest with you, Gary. There's a guy who just gave me an opportunity out here. His name's Charlie Price, and he's so close in my heart. He's a fantastic guy. He showed me a lot of different ways, and that's something that really he's dominating in the fashion industry, the runway industry. It just kind of charges my batteries. It's something that you get to go have a lot of creative freedom doing. And in this arena, maybe your hairdresser is somebody you trust, so you let them do it their way, but you don't ever walk out with a purple mohawk, you know? Yeah. But at these shows, you can do that kind of stuff. And it's a very creative process. You get to pick music, you get to pick designs, you get to pick designers who will custom build clothing for you. And I've had an opportunity to work on some of the bigger stages throughout the nation, and it's all the same people, man. Doesn't matter if it's a small show here in Denver, or if it's a big, huge New York or LA Fashion Week type event. It's people who are so passionately connected to the industry they work in. They want to go and they really want to show that vision that they have on a creative level. And when you have certain shows that are very classy, like a New York Fashion Week, it's really getting that uniformity, and that's the challenge, is you have 10 different girls, 10 different backgrounds, trying to get them to look the same for the runway. That's a challenge, and I love a challenge, to have more of an avant-garde look, something like a Denver Fashion Week for the big hair show event, or like a Red Ball event where you get to have all these creative avant-garde looks. I mean, man, anything goes. I mean, you see trees and stuff in people's hair. You see it all, I'm sure, when you were looking into it.
When I was looking at your gallery there, I seen a lot of great stuff that I had never seen before. I mean, you're able to really take and give small results all the way up to radical results. That's what I love about a salon, is the fact that you're able to give instantaneous results. I mean, you can walk in one way, and a couple hours later, you're walking out something different. One of those areas that also is really an expertise for use is that of hair extensions. Tell me, why is that something you got into?
Well, when I first entered this, I came out of the business arena, out of the real estate, and so I made a business decision, and that looks like hair extensions and hair color. Those were the most lucrative. Okay, so times have changed dramatically since I first started. There was a couple companies, ladies were charged $2,000 to $3,000 to do extensions, and now it's maybe like $500-600. So the way the industry has changed has been pretty interesting to watch, but honestly, that's why I got into it. And then I noticed that my attention to detail and the way that I just strive, I have to go and I went out and I shadowed this guy out in West Hollywood because he was really good at putting weaves in hair. I went out to New York and shadowed somebody who was really good at doing individual grafts. And so I don't try to get my training here locally. I try to find whoever the best is and go learn from them. And I am not too proud to sweep up hair if they can teach me a skill set that I can hold for the rest of my career. And extensions are one of those. And I've got a little bit less of an extension clientele than I used to because they've become a little bit more mainstream. But when I first started, it was definitely a craft that you had to be very, very meticulous with, or you could really hurt somebody if you didn't do it right.
Absolutely. Not only is the expert important, but also even the quality of hair that people use anymore.
Yeah, there's no question. There's a bunch of different stuff out there, and the softer it feels, a lot of times it has a silicone on it. I can talk for hours about how to buy extension hair, honestly, Gary. I don't want to bore you with all that stuff, but just know there is a detailed process, so you really do want to get a professional extensionist to help you out when you're trying to make that choice.
And like you said, you're basically versed in multi-applications, be it the weft or graft or tape-in. These are all areas that you've learned throughout the years. Are they all used today pretty much?
Yeah, there's really the three ways. The ones that's probably the most popular right now are the tape-ins. That started off with a company, I would say maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and it just kind of reinvented what happens in the extension world. Like I said before, you have maybe $2,500 and 8 hours in a salon that you would have to sacrifice, as a person who wanted them. Now, it's maybe $400 and it's maybe an hour in the salon. And those tape-in extensions or seamless type of extensions are really what transitioned the industry into really affordable extensions with decent quality hair. It's not the best stuff out there, but it's decent quality hair. And man, the installation takes 45 minutes to an hour, and that's kind of unheard of.
Regardless of the service folks come in here and get, be it curly cuts, color, basically men's cuts, clipper cuts, and you pretty much do it all in that way. How important is that initial consultation at the beginning that you really learn what it is they're looking for?
Gary, it's everything. I'll be quite honest with you. If I just walk up and act like I know what to do because I have a vision, I am doing my client a huge disservice. And there's really 3 things that are just super important to me. The consultation has something to do with all of them, and if you have a good consultation, then you're setting yourself up to win. And if that consultation takes 5 minutes or 15 minutes, you really have to dedicate yourself to being present in the moment and understanding what that client's expectations are. Sometimes colors come up. Your vision of red and my vision of red might be 2 different things. I want to be a really nice, golden brunette. Well, show me a picture. Let's get on the same page. Let's really take that time to build some rapport and a clear understanding of how to create success, not just for me as the hairstylist, but more importantly, for you as a client to come in and really have that good experience.
Speaking of a good experience, obviously it's important that you educate folks while they're in the chair, but you're also sending them home with the proper tools and product so they can maintain that. Tell me about the J. Beverly Hills before we let you go.
Okay, sure. Well, J. Beverly Hills is something that has been a big part of my recent journey. I was their international technical director. I helped make some of the products for them. I was on research and development, and every single aspect of the hair industry I was able to play and be a part of. It is a fantastic product. It was developed by a guy named Juan, who is a beautiful man. He's got a beautiful family, and what he did is he kind of reinvented the understanding, and he's a hairdresser making products for hairdressers, and it's really nice. I've resigned from the company, and I've moved into to my own. I'm making scissors. I have a scissor company now, and so I was able to do that around Memorial Day. But man, J. Beverly Hills, it's just one of the better products out there. It's botanically based. It's got fantastic color products. It's a front to back color line, so they make scissors and combs and mirrors, and they make styling products and shampoos along with color and developer and even color bowls, even capes. I mean, everything front to back. And it's a guy who did hair who wanted to make tools for other hairdressers. And that was what was so attractive to get involved with that company when I did a few years back.
Excellent. I mean, obviously, this has been very rewarding for you. You have a reputation of pretty much the go-to guy when it comes to fashion hair, editorial work, but also for the locals who really become your friends and, like you say, put a smile at the end of the day. You have a saying which is the giver's gain. Is that something that really is kind of giving back for you, educating people? I mean, really even being part of a suite like this where you have a lot of professionals all under one roof, all with a lot of creative energy right here, I can feel.
Sure. It's a really, really nice atmosphere to work in. And, you know, this is something I would have never in a million years thought that I would be part of. I was always a big salon type atmosphere. But the way that Sola has set things up for the hairstylists to really succeed, specifically the leaders in this one, their name is Eliza and Merle, man, they really set us up for success. And so I've got a commissioned salon environment that you would see at all of the big ones. If it's, 40-person salon in New York City, we took those strategies and we implemented them here in this small studio space. The reason that I'm so strong into giver's gain is because somebody gave to me when I first started out. I was a big doofy, jock that had no idea how to do hair, and somebody took the time to really show me those little subtle moves that you have to do. It's one of those things. My cousin Jeff, like I was saying when we first started, the barber, he always taught me it's those little things that make the biggest difference, and I never let go of that. And that's a smart guy, my cousin. So I've never stopped giving back, and what I've noticed is that the universe just kind of gives me some really cool stuff when I'm giving back to the people in my industry. Classes, education, we do so many fundraisers. We're doing another fashion show for melanoma. We've done stuff for breast cancer, for AIDS awareness. I mean, you name it, man. We give back to the community because it's where we live. It's where my kids are growing up. And honestly, it's got a huge part of my heart here in Colorado.
Wonderful. So it's the small things do matter. And as your Japanese influence would say, even the things that you can't see matter.
Yeah, it's true. He's Buddhist, and he is so philosophical. He really, it's one of those things. I don't remember where I got the quote. I think it was Socrates, but it said something like, "I can't really make you learn. I can only make you think." And Masaki is the master at really provoking thought, and not just what am I going to have for breakfast, but very deep, profound thought to make you a better person, not just for yourself, but the people around you. Giver's gain. I do believe that.
Wonderful. Viewers, take a look at the bottom of the screen right there. You're going to see their website. On the website there, take a look, learn a little bit more history about Ted. Basically, this is somebody that began back with family roots that began in the barbering world, and he's expanded that out into really being the go-to guy when it comes to curly hair. If you've got curly hair out there, you understand. You understand that it's not to be taken lightly. This is something that not only an artist, but a science. It's an art and a science that takes place right here. This is a company that began in 2013, but honestly, he has years of experience before that, not only working here nationwide, but across the world with many of some of the great influencers in this particular industry. Once again, that is Ted's Hair Studio, located right here in the heart of Cherry Creek. This is Gary Atensu with CNTV. And if you don't know, now you know.